Welcome to Embracing Infinity, exploring the infinite oneness in the space of love and truth. Host Jennifer Rose is an international spiritual medium, healer, channeler, mentor, and transformational guide. Her focus is encouraging individuals to know themselves within the lens of their divine heart and highest potential, to evolve within the frequency of love and peaceful harmony. Now, here's your host, Jennifer Rose.
Hi everyone, how are we today? Welcome to Embracing Infinity on the Sacred Spiral Network. I hope you all are having a very fine and beautiful Friday morning, afternoon, or evening, depending wherever you are in the world. So welcome once again. A couple of quick announcements before we get started. And I'm so excited that we've got Kelly Brickel joining us today as my guest. She is the creator of Embracing Infinity and the most loveliest person ever. So we're going to have a really fun time today with all of you. Want to say hello to Gwendolyn, who's coming on, and Kelly's waiting to come on too. And a couple of quick announcements before we get started. Tomorrow, Miss Kelly is going to be doing her psychic hour on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific with Michael Christopher, so you don't want to miss that. And Miss Debbie Romero will be coming on next Wednesday for her show Transcend with Debbie. That's, I believe, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And for next week, I've got the lovely C. Megan Michael coming on as my guest for Embracing Infinity. She's from High Vibrational Mastery. That's her baby. So I'm looking forward to having her as our guest on next week as well. I want to say hi to Nancy and hi to Ronnie that's coming on. Welcome, everybody. I hope you guys are doing really good. Thanks for coming and supporting and for all of your love. I really, really appreciate you all so much. So I was going to chat for just a few minutes before we bring Kelly on and to talk today. And if anybody has any questions for us too, when I bring Kelly on, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask us too, we can delve into that together. But it's been a really interesting couple of weeks. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for coming. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, and we're moving now into the second half of this year. It's gone by really, really fast, and it put me in a bit of an existential mood, I have to say, because so many people have been going through so many changes. I have people coming in my readings, coming in, like when's it gonna let up? And it's like, oh gosh, I wish I could give them an answer, but the energies do what the energies do, right? Hi, Stacia, great to see you. Thanks for coming, love. So all the angels are here today. Hi, angels. But yesterday was D-Day. It was the 80 years since we would say is the beginning of the end of World War II. And I'm not going to get too heavy with that, but it got me thinking. And I was even thinking before that in kind of this contemplative mood about, the meaning of life and the depth of life and love. And if you know me, I'm a very deep thinker, so you won't be too surprised. Hi, Aspen. Thanks for coming on today. Lots of love to you too. Sending on my hearts. And I wanted to read a couple of things for you too. So this one is by Viktor Frankl, and he survived World War II. He survived being in a concentration camp and the Holocaust. He's also a philosopher and psychologist as well. And I wanted to talk about what he says about love here today. And it's really, really interesting that I found this and I wanted to share it with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with that. And he says, a thought transfixed me. Sorry, 1 second. I just want to make sure I have the right one here. Yeah, this is the right one I want to say. A thought transfixed me. For the first time in my life, I saw the truth as it set into song by so many poets, proclaimed as the final wisdom by so many thinkers. The truth, that love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which a man can aspire. Then I grasped the meaning of the secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of human is through love and in love. I understood how a man who has nothing left in this world still may know bliss, be it only for the brief moment, in the contemplation of his beloved. In a position of utter desolation, when a man cannot express himself in positive action, when his only achievement may consist in enduring his sufferings in the right way, an honorable way, in such as a position man can, through loving contemplation of the image he carries of his beloved, achieve fulfillment. For the first time in my life, I was able to understand the meaning of the words, "The angels are lost in perpetual contemplation of an infinite glory." I get truly amazed by people, humans, spiritual beings in this world that have survived extraordinary circumstances that most of us can't even begin to grasp or contemplate. We know that the challenges we go in life are so hard, but there are certain things that we just can't even imagine sometimes. I want to stop and say hello to Courtney for coming on. Thank you. Hi, Shannon. That's my angel girl. Jennifer, thanks for being here. Carol, thank you. Thank you. And we think of so many beautiful souls that had to leave the world because of war. And what was also very interesting, if you don't mind me reading one more thing, is something popped up in my memories yesterday. It's a poem that I've read before on some of the spiritual services that I've been able to demonstrate for, that I'm very honored to be able to do for. And it showed up on the same day as the anniversary. And when I channeled this poem from Spirit, they gave me this vision of all of the beautiful lights of the spirits ascending up to heaven. It was truly beautiful. It was truly glorious. And it made me think, amidst all of this destruction that was happening, whether it be the past or the present, up above here is this beauty of all these flickering little lights of beautiful souls ascending up to heaven. And it reminds me that there's always beauty to be found, even in difficult circumstances, even in extraordinarily destructive circumstances. The infinite loop will always keep us refining and elevating and evolving. It's just the nature of how it is. So we find a peak, we come to a normal, we try to refine it, make it better. And this is how we are. And this is something that we can have faith in, even when it seems like all hope is lost. And if there are people who can find that hope in extraordinary circumstances, surely we all can too. So it gives us faith in that. So I'll read this poem really quick. And some of you have heard it before, but if you indulge me of reading it one more time, that I channeled from Spirit, it's called Born of Love. And it's about going to Spirit and the grief that we process through that. Hi, Miss Debbie. Debbie's got a beautiful day over at Paracon today, giving you a shout out. That's my soul sister. Thanks for being here, Debbie. And okay, so here we go. Born of Love. When the wind blows, Spirit soars to the heavens, magnificent lights aglow, the sky lit up like fairy dust. On angel wings they fly, unafraid and perfect. They need not say goodbye, for they know life is forever. We cry such tears of love so true, our eyes can't see, our ears can't hear. Rivers flow from what we once knew, carving a new path unknown with fear. The angels whisper to lonely ears, don't give up and don't forget. The change we call death is sacred, my dears, and we are all bound by the golden thread. The tears grow gardens with roots so deep, gripping into fertile soil. Your heart the hands of God does keep, such beauty born of love. A seed breaks open, the sun does call, grace gently carries you to the light, and winds of change will set you free. The breath of God, behold the sight. So thank you for listening. And again, indulging me in reading that or hearing that one more time if you've already heard it before. But I wanted to find a way to sort of pay tribute to anyone that we love or even people we don't know, because they are love too. They are souls. And each and every human being, each and every living being deserves to be honored with respect and dignity for their life here, because we are all spirit. And thank you, everybody. There's another beautiful soul, and her name is Immaculate. I'm so sorry if I can't say her name right. Immaculate Ibegazia. I'm so sorry, beautiful lady. But she survived the genocide in Rwanda and came to be a well-known speaker. And she went through a pretty significant spiritual transformation from her experience. And she was given this experience while in a very tiny bathroom with 7 or 8 other women for 3 months while this was going on. And by the grace of God, was not discovered, and her life was spared. And by the time she came out, she had been through, a very bad dark night of the soul. But she came out just with so much, awe of life. That's what you feel when you're, so much appreciation and gratitude. And through her experience with spirit, with God, whatever word you would like to use, she was able to find forgiveness. And that's why I say, if she can forgive that, we can find forgiveness too in the time frame that we can. And but she believed in faith. She said faith moves mountains. If faith were easy, there would be no mountains. So she understands that it's a difficult process. And she also says, for the first time in my life, I was able to understand the meaning of the words the angels. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not it. That was the one by Victor. She says this one about angels too. She says, truly, truly, there is potential in every human being. In the worst person who has done the worst thing, there is potential to be an angel. And it just touches my heart so deeply. And I want to thank you for helping me kind of hold space, because I'm trying not to get too heavy, but I want to just express the depth of humanity and all of its beauty and all of its love, and just honor love itself. And each and every person here who's watching is love, and all of the people you care about are love, and all of your people that you're missing that have gone up to spirit are love. And so it's just a moment for us to just kind of pay tribute to life itself, because ultimately it is that will to live that keeps us going, that will to love that keeps us going, and that faith in humanity. So if we could keep that, faith in humanity, and remember there is a light in everybody, no matter what, we'll have so much more peace. This is how we get that peace. And it's those transcendent moments of love that we talked about last week, where you see somebody with the eyes of God, that you can transcend the darkness, the duality, right? And isn't that just amazing? Isn't it just amazing that we can do that while we're here in this reality? Because this reality is changeable and flexible, and we together as a collective, through the power of love, can do that. So I'm going to take a breath after that, and I want to thank you all for holding space for me and for each other. And I want to thank you all for your loving comments too. And for, I want to say, looks like Courtney, a friend of your family, lost their 21-year-old daughter on Friday. I pray for her and her family. Thank you, Courtney, for sharing her with us, and we'll definitely send love and healing to her family. And if everybody would just take a moment to send some heart love out to Courtney's family there. Thank you. Loss is hard, but it brings you to these moments. Thank you, Nancy. It brings you to these moments where you get stripped very bare, and then you just know what matters. It's just that easy. It really is. So with that, let me bring in the most beautiful soul, Kelly Brickel, who has created this network for us all to come together. She is a fabulous medium, a numerologist, a psychic, a teacher, and a beautiful, beautiful human being. So, Kelly, would you please come and join us, my darling?
Hey!
Hi, love. Big hugs to you. We're all sending hugs, and everybody's sending love to Courtney here too. Yeah. So it's, it's an honor to be able to, to give Courtney some love here today.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Courtney, we're sending your friend of the family a lot of love and consideration. So we have such a lovely community here where people can share what's going on within their lives and share in the healing and the encouragement. So I'm really grateful we have a community like that.
Me too. Me too. We're so lucky. And hi, Jessica, and hi, Tracy. Thank you guys for joining us here today. We're so lucky that we've all found each other, because this is a tribe that's so loving, and we all are taking care of each other, and we're all supporting one another in the most beautiful way. And this seems like this love just keeps growing like this. And it's miraculous to me to watch it, to watch how it's all unfolded over the last few years of how we just keep coming together like this. And it's just like this pool of loving beings is just growing in its power. So super, super cool. So how are you today?
I'm good. I was behind the scenes and, in the back end a little bit, and now I'm here. So I'm good. So I'm blessed to be here. Thank you for having me on. And really, as you were talking, I connected to the whole meaning of how spirituality, it's really having the bravery and the capacity to have awareness of all things. So the love and the light is super important because we return to that to regenerate, to heal, to help others, to uplift others, to remind them of the totality of the human experience. But we are in all these, painful situations sometimes on Earth. And you were remembering World War II and also other tragedies with Rwanda that you were connecting to for the grace of humanity, because we have to go through it all. And it's so just heart-wrenching because everybody goes through different things. Everybody goes through such different things, and we don't know what each of us has been through. We don't know the background. We don't know what people are still healing from, have the trauma of, or are doing their best in. Like, everyone's just doing their best. And as long as you associate, and I think as long as you have compassion for yourself and others, a lot of potential good can happen. But we're all human. We're all human, and we get it wrong. And we just are trying to encourage each other along the way, and hopefully not being selfish and saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to care, and I'm going to be gentle, and I'm going to be kind. And I understand that we are all affected from the choices that we make. We're all affected, even, 50 years later, 100 years later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, what you are speaking of is developing that mindful presence of ourselves, and we get there through that inner work and through the transformation and through the know thyself process. And the more we can develop that mindful presence, the more we can be that for each other and for ourselves, to continuing elevating humanity so that we can be in that compassionate space. So instead of being in fight mode all the time, we can take it back and hold presence. And when we hold presence, we're able to see each other, in that deep way, the eyes behind the personality, the soul behind the personality. And it can take some work to get there, and we can blunder along the way and slip back into old patterns, but we're always getting there a little bit more, a little bit closer, a little bit better. But it is a gift. Yes, Carol, well said, Kelly. We do not know what another soul has gone through. We must hold the love and the light. Yeah, because we don't know what somebody's going through, and that just helps us to take a step back. How do you, Kelly, like to help to maintain that presence of being? Because you're a pretty grounded person. You're very aware. You have a lot of knowledge behind you, but you also have this beautiful heart, and it all comes together, and you emanate, a great beauty for all of us.
Thank you. That is really, really kind. In some areas within my life, I think I'm really grounded. I think that if something comes my way unexpected, or let's say not the greatest energy, and that could be X, Y, or Z, I think my energy is grounded enough and neutral enough to be like, okay, I'm not going to let this shake who I am, and I'm going to remain so flexible that I can really still see the full picture enough to not be reactive, or to not be, I'm going to say it again, like shooken up, right? The rooting, the grounding, and who I am is strong enough where I have a lot of internal peace. Now, I don't feel rooted in every situation. That's for sure. And I'm always learning. Like I find in life that I have to take care of myself a lot to have physical rooting. And so I have to be very, very careful with how I use my physical energy. So I'm always working on the sleep department. And I find that when my physicalness is not strong, I can't root my energy as strong. The emotional strength will be there.
Yeah.
The spiritual strength will be there. The mental fortitude, I will try. But our brains are very physical, and our bodies are channels with how we use energy. So I do feel like I have this tenacity. I have this fire where I'll be like, you can't shake me. And I've had that since I've been young, but then with all my curiosity with trying to understand people and heal, and really be connected to, there's something bigger than me, and there's something bigger than just the situation of what's happening in front of us. I feel like, yeah, a lot of strength's been cultivated, but the physicality of it, I'm still working on. I'm still working on, so I can come with the full fortitude, right? What I want to say within all of that is, within my healing journey, I've tried, and I continue to try to really, really have stamina in the way that I deal with people, because people are going through it. People are going through it, and what happens is they're so constricted, and they're so tense, or they have so much pain, or they don't know what to do with their energy, that it's all locked up. And sometimes when you just hold space or talk with them or patient, what happens is they go, I don't have to act like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have
Yeah.
to act like this. And they get into their spirit and they go, what do I want to act like? I feel not as burdened, or I feel a little bit more safe, because our spirit knows what we want to do. It's just sometimes we're in such survival mode, and we've just been going through such a ringer that we're not in that flexible condition. So it takes somebody to go, hey, I'm just gonna like be with you for a little bit, and everything that you're doing, it's not weird, it's okay. So my capacity for weird is very high.
Mine too. Mine
Yeah.
too. People come to me all the time. They're like, "You're gonna think this is really weird," and I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna think it's weird." and, and then they tell me, and I'm like, "Nope, not even close to weird." And they're like, "Okay, phew."
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because you're being like, oh, that's life. That's
Yeah.
life. Okay,
But we
that
also,
happened.
yeah. And we know, and you and I, we've been down through the rabbit hole of transformation, and kind of once you go down there, you never quite come back out the top of that hole again. Because when you're in it, you're in it. And so that's when we embrace the unknown and embrace the outer stretches of things, and you know what I mean.
The penchant for the
Uh,
unconventional is truly there within spiritual awakening. You go, okay, I'm down. Sure. As long as, like, negativity is a part of life and positivity is a part of life, as long as your
mhm,
intention is not to be negative, as long as your intention
right.
is truly to help, um, I think like the rest is like, all right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And if there is a bad situation, we go, well, how do you feel about that? What brought you to, you go, what on earth brought you to that if that didn't happen to you uncontrollably? What's going on there? And if it is uplifting and they just need help and they are in this loving place, but they're just very confused, then it gets fun and it's just like, let the weirdness commence. Come on, it's okay. Let's go. It's all good.
It's true. And I think that comes from our inner spirit, that sort of inner child of us too. And it's like when we can get in touch with that, there's a commonality that we have, and it's that we can finally just kind of let go and be ourselves, be our true selves too. um Oh, so okay, what is Jessica saying here? When
I
people
like
keep pushing and pushing you and you're tired of everyone, you lack boundaries, what advice do you have? I'm tired of takers and I give. I don't know how to stop. Yeah, I think
that.
pretty much all of us kind of go through that. It takes some practice. Um, I'm going to let you go first on that, Kelly, and then I will give my
uh,
take as well.
we're all human. you know
Yeah,
the more
yeah,
we do this, we go, oh, now I understand a little bit more of that person's energy, and now I understand my energy in that situation because I didn't feel very um flexible in that moment. I felt like I had one emotion to resort to, and I felt that they couldn't hear me no matter what I said. And really, in every situation, that's not the case. There's always another thing to choose. There's always help. Sometimes you're going to have a really, really, really frustrating person. And I do always believe in spirit coming in and letting them in difficult situations to inspire you and inspire the person that you're dealing with. You can change the rate of your breathing. You can come in with really soothing energy. And no matter how volatile that person is, they're going to be reactive. So they're going to be reactive to your energy. So there's always ways to work with the energy. I'm not saying you're going to have always resolvement, because when it comes to other people, it's you and another person. It's free will and free will. So you can influence what's going on. Absolutely. And you can actually greatly help yourself and the other person. But if a person is being very difficult, sometimes you can't change the outcome because you have two wills involved, and you just have to be okay with that and walk away. And you just have to be okay. Well, they're not willing to work with me, so I have to just kind of step back until the energy resets itself. So, I mean, again, I'm human. I blow up sometimes, that's for sure. I do not try to, but when I do, I know that I'm not taking care of myself. I go, oh my gosh, I'm not sleeping right. I'm taking on too much. And my capacity to be flexible has just greatly diminished, greatly diminished. So that's a huge part. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and then I'm going to tell a story too after that,
okay,
to
perfect.
illustrate the
Um,
point.
for everybody who's watching too, here, there's a person here who's sending messages to you, who's soliciting you. Please just ignore, block, and don't interact, and we're going to try to remove that person. This is Kelly's show, so we send you love, but we ask you to politely exit. Thank you.
So
Okay.
that's just heads up, Jennifer.
Yeah.
They're on your destination, so I can't.
All right.
Um,
Okay.
they're on
So
both
I'm
of
gonna.
ours, so I'm getting rid of the one on my side, and then heads up to
Mhm.
you. So I
Yeah.
can
Okay.
talk
So
for a moment, or you tell me how, whatever you'd like to do. But yes.
Yeah. So what I'll just finish with what we were talking about with Jessica. I love your name, by the way. You're lovely. What I would just,
Awesome.
in addition to the lovely message that Kelly just brought you to, is could you consider taking some time for yourself, just taking a little break, taking some time for yourself just to breathe, to allow your nervous system to decompress a little bit, because it feels to me there was a bit of a kind of a like endless cycle that's happening. Hi, beautiful fairy Fran. So could you take some time for yourself to do a little bit of just an inner reset for yourself, and think about what you want and what you need, and work on perhaps with some writing or some meditation, or speaking with somebody that's got guidance that would be helpful for you. Um, Figure out for yourself what would be the processes to help you get more of that for yourself. And can you work through perhaps any limiting belief systems that may still be present? And this is not about blame or anything like that. This is all part of just being us about this experience that we're all on. Is there anything that could be going on in the background that is contributing that we could look at, so that you could come more into the power of your worth as a person, as a beautiful soul that you are? And the more you can embrace your worth and to know that you are whole and complete as you are, and to embrace that within you. And that can help to shift the energy for what you're experiencing outward. Because the more you embrace your own wholeness and completeness and worthiness, that is going to change how people react towards you. It will shift the energy of what's being sort of magnetized towards you, so to speak. This is a journey that we all go on. It's not an easy one, but it is worthwhile for yourself to do that. So it's taking time. And I'm repeating advice that's been given to me, so I can say that it works. And it's a journey. It's a journey of you being the hero in your own life. But you can do it because you're strong and you're powerful and you're beautiful. So that's what I'm going to add. And I'll let you tell your story, Kelly, while I work on my end. Hi, Nadia. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I will say I love what you brought up. And I'm going to say something additional too, because you inspired me. Jessica was talking about having difficulty, and with one of the most, I guess, personalized connections we can have. She was talking about, I'm having difficulty with my mom. And it's echoing heads up. There we go. There we go. And with our parents or family members or people who've known us for a long time, we first met them, at a very young age, and we were still formulating who we were. We were still learning about who we were. And as we grow, we integrate more and more parts. So sometimes when we are talking to our parents or old friends, we start to operate from those parts of us. When they weren't fully integrated, we revert. And we go, oh, I don't know how to bring out this side of myself, because with my mom or with my dad or siblings, they know that part of me. And they don't see me as my present self. They don't handle me as my present self. And I don't know how to use present energy around them. And I know that's something that I'm working on too, because I have to go, whoa, 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 whoa. Why did they just told me something, and why am I okay with that? Why am I okay with that? And I do think it's a delicate balance, because I do believe in respect should go both ways. Absolutely. But you have to stand up and assert yourself and go, this is who I am. This is who I am. And I think family has a lot of healthy family has a lot of grace with going, what the heck is that? but okay, we'll try to accommodate you. Family is a unit, and they will try to accommodate. They won't understand, but they will think about accommodating if it's healthy. If it's not healthy, it's important to assert boundaries and assert who you are, because you have to hold your vibration and say, this is who I am. This is who I am, and this is the present me, and this is how I feel comfortable letting you know A, B, and C. And they will match and react, because this is a whole huge conversation about reactions. How is someone reacting to your energy? And a lot of us are highly reactive, especially when we're stressed. Even if we're leading the energy, we could be very, very stressed about talking to somebody, and we are not going to be the dominant energy because we are so reactive with how we're approaching things. So figure out how you can lead the energy and keep leading your present energy. This is my preference. This is what I've always wanted. By the way, I wanted to share this. So that's really important. But really quick, the quick story I will say is, because we're talking about how people affect us and how do we hold space when people take from us. So ever since I've been young, I've been pretty like feisty. So if someone like really, if it's not a dangerous situation, because I'm aware of like, we have to look out for ourselves. Sometimes there's just dangerous situations. But if someone has like got up in my energy or tried to be very disrespectful, if it really came down to a moment, most times I will be like, oh, this is a moment where let's bring clarity to this. This is not cool. This is not okay. And so I've been able to like really effectively handle some difficult situations at times, because I'm willing to tango with, let's talk about the truth of this. This is highly uncomfortable. Do we realize what's happening here? Because usually the person doesn't fully realize what they're doing if they're doing something disrespectful. The only times I haven't been able to do that is with my Achilles heel, if I haven't had great sleep, because I then try to exercise. Well, we should stand up for, anyone should stand up for themselves if they're getting something odd, right? Someone should say something. It's an injustice, right? We would do that for another person. And I go, let's go. This is an injustice. And my energy goes, wah, 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 wah. It's almost like I don't have enough energy in the tank to execute it. And I go, oh, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult. But when I take care of myself and I'm in alignment, I just go, oh, my dots are connected. Let's go. Let's handle this energy situation. Let's go. And I am A game for it. So to tie it up for real. So to tie it up one time, like when I was like 20, I was working, and my manager, one of the managers, I don't know what they were thinking that day. But I think they knew that I was always apt to be like, okay, well, if you're gonna say it like that, interesting. Like I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid with them, you know what I mean? So on one day they brought up something, and they looked at me in the eye and I looked at them, and then they literally stepped into my energy, and they kept walking into my energy up until, I don't know, they were like a foot away from my face. And normally I'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd get like kind of like creative with it and just be like, what's going on? I don't think so. But I was so tired. I was like, okay, I will say something. I will say something if I feel like it gets dangerous, but I'm so tired. I'm just going to watch them, because I was just like in disbelief. And there's situations that happen where you just go, oh my, why is somebody doing that? But what is going on? And we have to prepare our energy to deal with these oddities and uncertainties, because when somebody shows us something that's not cool, not kind, it's not because we're like, okay, and I was ready for this. No, all of us are like, what's going on? This is not right. I'm uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable. Everything's about to get more uncomfortable. But if we take care of ourselves, we're ready for anything, honestly, or we can start to become ready for anything. What do you think about that,
Thank you,
Jennifer?
Kelly. Yeah, I totally agree. I want to also say hi to Laura and Michael, who's joined us too. And Michelle, thanks for coming on for joining us, and for Phyllis. So thanks everybody for coming on too. I absolutely agree. We've got to take care of our physical health. What That's another thing I was reading, is there's a concept of a hardy personality, and it's about having a strong will of mind, of living, and taking care of your emotional self, your mental self, and your physical self. So it's really that whole process of taking care of you. So your nervous system, you've heard me mention many times, is something we have to take good care of, so that we can stay in this part of our brain and not this part of our brain. And then we can think with clarity, we can respond appropriately, we can take those breaths and that space for ourselves, and know how to communicate in a more productive way. We're not going to get it perfect all the time, but yes, if we haven't been sleeping well, we haven't been getting enough, physical activity, burning the candle at both ends, not taking our vitamins, not eating properly, too much caffeine, too much sugar. You know me, I love my coffee. So we all have to think about things and be really mindful. And so think of your whole system, your body, your mind, your spirit, your heart, as this vessel that needs to be taken care of, and be devoted to that. Be devoted to yourself too, just as you would be so devoted to the other people in your life as well, because it's a it's an infinite loop of connection. It's an infinite loop of connection, and whatever we're doing with inside of us will have an impact on what's outside of us. Okay. So Jessica's saying trouble with anger, and then snap. It hurts to act like your old self too. This is where, anger is not a bad thing, and we all have it, and women generally are not able to express it by culturally the way men are able to, and so we tend to repress it, and then it tends to explode out of us too. And so definitely for you, keeping your nervous system calm is going to be really important. That perhaps working with a licensed counselor or therapist to work through old past traumas could be helpful for you too, to help you manage your anger as well. Anger is not a bad thing. It's how we express it and what we do with it, and the words that we use, so we don't create more damage. And that said too, we have many facets of self. We are multidimensional. So when those, like I said, all of our different parts of our personality, when those parts that are kind of in the corners that we don't wear very often, those little outfits that we tend not to wear, and all of a sudden they come out of nowhere, it's like, that's part of the closet. Why is it there? What can we learn from it? What does it have to teach you, Jessica? What does that angry part of you have to teach you? It could be your best teacher of who you are as a spiritual human being. So that's a lot to take in right now, but think about it. And can you give love to each part of yourself? Hold it gently and lovingly. And that will give healing to your inner self, your inner child, the inner young woman in you as well. I'm very sorry for the things that you've had to go through in life. Life is not easy, but you're here with all of us. So this is a good day.
I love it. And what you said, we're multidimensional beings. And I know that if you want, you can look at it from an energy sensitive standpoint of how you feel and look at energy. I know that I can feel how my aura works. And there's energy exercises where you can start to feel your own aura and understand about it. And when I was in that position, just like I talked about, we get tense, we get stressed, our energy balls up. That's exactly what happens with the aura. It's exactly what happens when we're in fear or we're uncomfortable. The aura shrinks. When we're healthy and we're taking care of ourselves and we feel love or joy or authenticity, our energy is huge. And people, when they come up to us, go, oh, their energy, it's like in nature. They're big. I don't want to mess with them. That feels formidable. I'm gonna watch what I say a little bit more. I don't feel like I should mess with that. They feel big. Your aura
very
is
true.
big.
Yeah.
When you're taking care of yourself.
Right.
And
You've got that right on. Mm-hmm.
I felt strong and at peace within. So I was ready for it in that moment, what I needed to do. But I was so tired that my energy was constricted that they felt the need to come closer because they felt me smaller. And they actually smiled when they walked into my energy. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, really? I'm just like, I was just observing. I'm like, this is only happening because I'm exhausted, but I'm watching you. I'm learning more about you. This is really sad that you feel empowered walking with my energy when I feel small. And some people will do that, and they will take advantage of situations. And so that's why we have to continue to care for ourselves and lead the energy and look out for ourselves. But I could talk about this all day. So
Yeah, I know. It sounds like that. It sounds like they were just like taking advantage of, like, coming in with very dominant energy towards you. And, you
I
know,
like that.
but that also gives us information that what's in that person, that they need to be that way, so, and that's really kind of within their journey as well. But that gives us a point of what can we do, because I teach in my energy class too. If you're going into a space and you feel scared of being in that space, say it's, I know a lot of us are energetically sensitive, and you don't want to go to one of those great big stores, because all the people, all the energy in there. And what you naturally think to do is go like this, because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to hide. You think if I do this, I'll disappear and no one will see me, and you constrict your energy. It actually makes everything come closer in a way that you can feel it more intensely. So that's why you want to expand it out. Push your aura out, push your energy out, walk in there channeling your confident self. So take a minute before you go in to channel your confident self, right? Channel what you want to feel when you go in there by making yourself big like that. Walk in like you just own the place. If it's a big store, well, you're the CEO of that store. So what's anyone going to do, right? So these are things you can intentionally do to manage. And then along those lines, just keep working on you of how you feel about you, because this is also a self-love journey. And when these people come and reflect things to you, they're giving you an opportunity also to find more self-love too. But again, the tiredness, our nervous systems can only do so much when we're tired. And these things, I mean, these are, we can't have control over every single thing all of the time too. And so that's why, we do the best we can from day to day. And there are going to be those instances too. But the positive thing, Kelly, is you're telling your story. So you've been able to make good out of something that was hard, you helped
Absolutely.
us. Yeah. So you changed it by sharing your story, and then we could all learn from it. And now you've made it better for everybody too.
We're always working on it, but
Yeah.
when I can be in touch with energy and you can understand the essence of things, you don't get as affected, and then you go, oh, well, isn't that interesting? I'm noticing this about them, and it's letting me know about what's going on inside of them, and I have enough flexibility where I am okay with myself. I don't have to worry about protecting me, because I feel so grounded, and I trust that my needs are met even in ridiculous and difficult situations, that I can start look to another person and being like, what is going on here? And then you influence it, because they're so highly reacted. You can really influence the situation for the better. But
Yeah.
oh goodness, I was going to say something with that, and then away my mind went. So oh, that's what I wanted to say. And I don't know what you think about this, Jennifer, but I know when, let's say, I'm in a good place, but I'm a little tired, you know, life frazzles us in different departments. I will notice that sometimes, and really it's those that are closest to me that really can affect me. If I don't know you and I'm having a bad day, I'm sorry, I don't know you. You're not going to affect my life in at the end of my day or beyond. So it's like,
Yeah.
I care about you, but I'm not going to let you affect my energy, because why would it? I don't know you. You don't influence my life. So there's that detachment. But if I know you and I'm having difficulty, and I have an intimate connection with you, so this could be family, I'm thinking of especially, I sometimes will get very rebellious, because I will go, I don't connect with that. Sorry. I can't accept that energy. Sorry. I'm not going to act like that's okay. Sorry. So I have to watch myself a little bit. If I'm very comfortable with the person and I feel like they're being disrespectful, because I will employ different principles where I will make sure that I let them know I'm very empathetic, but that energy connection that we just started and created and what energy gave me, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. So
Yeah.
there's many different ways to say this energy doesn't fly with me.
Right.
And you can toss it back to a person and see what they do with that. And then you got to be careful, because if you're not neutral, energy and emotion can get volatile if you are not comfortable and if you are being truly triggered. So there's nothing wrong with anger. There's nothing wrong with sadness. There's nothing wrong with frustration. But if we are compounding that and we are not comfortable and just in the tunnel vision of that emotion, it can get rocky really fast. So we're just talking.
Yeah.
We're just talking about how to not
Yeah.
let ourselves go in directions we go, and later on
Here we go. Who
understand.
was that? Who was
Yeah,
that? Who
what
is
was that?
that?
Or I don't want that. Or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a delicate balance. And so sometimes just taking a step back or just taking a breath, can help. Gwendolyn's saying our lives are change. She's been sitting. Oh, sorry, I
Sorry.
was
Oh,
trying to
sorry.
read
Sorry. In
Gwendolyn.
the middle.
Gwendolyn's been
Go for it.
setting boundaries and standing strong. It definitely is work, right? And absolutely, Gwendolyn, it is. And just to be able to speak up for yourself and say, "Hey, whoa, that's not working. Like this interaction isn't working for me right now." That's not easy to do. A lot of us don't even know how to say that too. So that takes some practice. But it is a reflection of the inner work that has been done to get to that point, to be able to express yourself and kind of be in your power, to express yourself in a way that's hopefully the most constructive way possible. Too. Hi, Nikita. Thanks for joining. Thank you,
It's
Debbie.
the energy of going against the grain. It actually feels uncomfortable
Yeah.
because you go, ooh, and they're going to feel like, ooh, because they want you to do something. You're like, sorry, no, that's not going to work. And so both of you are like, ooh, that's how it feels for me, at least. The rough sandpaper texture.
We try so hard to keep it open, and we try to be mindful of like, what are we wanting to accomplish? Are we just saying what we feel, or are we saying this in a way that we're hoping to get something? So and is the energy neutral, or are we pushing, or are we pulling the energy? And that's where it gets a little bit dicey. And so that's where it's good for, I think, all of us to really be mindful of. And the more you can feel energy and learn to tune into it and to be able to understand it, it will help you to communicate better and understand how that works. So, if you're at a restaurant, for instance, and somebody's trying to get you to order because they're in a hurry and it's busy, you feel real pushed, right? That's like what pushing feels like. Or if you're shopping with somebody and they're like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, I want to go to the next store. That's what pushing feels like, and it feels kind of uncomfortable, right? And then if somebody's trying to get you to do something for them, you'll feel tugged on, you'll feel pulled on, right? And these aren't bad. Sometimes pushes can be good. We can push people to do better, or to step out of their comfort zone because we love them and we believe in them when we know they can do that, and to help get past their fear. If somebody, if a child is needing their mother's love or their father's love, right, they're going to be pulling and tugging on the apron strings there, right? But that's an expected, appropriate pull, because that is a child who needs love, right, in that moment too. So sometimes they're good, and then sometimes they're less constructive. But I think what we're talking about, Kelly, right now is trying to be able to be in our power and express ourselves in a way that's fairly neutral. And then even on top of that, if we can add some loving vibration that helps to add some healing to the situation, well, then we've done a really good job on that day.
To really have that power, though, because we're talking about how can
Yeah.
we change things for the better, or how can we like even have the flexibility to remove ourselves from a situation if we feel like, all right, I can't add to this, or it's not a good place. You have to be so comfortable or willing to look at the hard situations, and you have to be comfortable within the energy of anger and sadness to a certain degree. When it hits you, you don't get affected, because what happens is you're going to be in the energy mentally. You're going to be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, okay, it's going to go like this. But all of a sudden the energy is, all right, I'm angry. And so if you're not comfortable with anger, if you're not comfortable with sadness, if you're not comfortable with frustration, or if you're not comfortable with someone pushing their energy at you, you're going to immediately be like, I'm uncomfortable. And now all those things that I was clear about, they're getting wishy-washy. They're being flown away because someone's up in my space and they're giving me something that I'm not okay with. So you have to be okay with these things. And so you have to look at that. In order to be very flexible in the light, you have to do the shadow work. You have to be like, all right, let me sit in this. What does this mean to me? What does this mean to me? And let me sit in someone else's energy when they are being like this, because I have to understand how it feels when it's not just me. Everyone's anger is going to feel differently. Everyone's sadness is going to feel differently. Of course, there's going to be the symbology of, oh, I know that they're angry, most times at least. But you have to experience different ways that people express themselves and let that energy hit you and be in you. Not all the time, you shouldn't have that, but you need to let it end. Like, you need to meet it. That's the whole thing with healing work and energy work. You need to be in a place, and you have to be in a healthy place. You shouldn't do this at any time, but you need to be in a good enough, healthy place, taking care of yourself, and allow yourself to learn about that energy of what does it feel like when someone truly gives me this, and I'm gonna resonate with that and go, now I understand it. So in the future, I can say no, thank you, or I can go, okay, I know what I'm dealing with. Not just, I'm uncomfortable right now. I don't like this. Because where can, it's all about awareness. How can we be aware of what's going on if we're just uncomfortable and we just start going, don't want it, I don't like how you make me feel. How can we do anything with that?
Yeah. But that's when we start getting into kind of that fight, flight, freeze mode. And that's where our nervous system has now gone into, we think we're in danger. So then we're going to fight or we're going to run. And so that's why learning how to maintain our physical health is so important. And then developing those mental and emotional tools to be able to, stay as centered and grounded as we possibly can, and do that, like you said, the inner healing work, the shadow work. And we're all beautiful people here. We're all kind. We're all loving, but nobody is perfect. And it's we
I
love
love
you
the
even when you're
comment.
mad. That is perfect, Courtney.
It is. They accept things. They
Yeah,
accept
and
things, the
that
emotions.
that is so beautiful. I just like that just says it all right there, right? That just says it all right there. Because isn't that hard when we have a human moment because we're not feeling well, our feelings are hurt, our inner child is activated, and then we get into that expressive part of us, and then the other person gets angry at us for being that way, and then it's like then the whole cycle gets repeated again. So it's like one person's pain cycle and another person's pain cycle. So we can't control another person's pain cycle, but we can control our own. We can control our own to help hopefully get out of that unhealthy loop and into a healthier dynamic with people too. And the more we can be in our own power and taking care of us, it really just starts with us. The change starts within us. Then the more our reality around us will change, because people will feel your energy changing. They will see that you're, more in your body, that you're, that you're more in your power, in a very positive way. This is not power over others. This is knowing who you are, knowing that you're a beautiful, worthy human being, deserving of love and kindness and respect. At the end of the day, we all need to feel safe, when we all need to feel seen and heard, and know that we're important in this world. And we need to know it for ourselves, but we also need to have that reflected back to us as well. It's just a human need. It really is. We need ourselves. We need each other. And hopefully we can match that with the power of three, with our connection to spirit. And then we've got something really beautiful going on. It's quite lovely. Yeah. Thank you for the love, Stacia. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love.
Yeah.
I think this is all very relevant, and I like what love what Courtney says. We allow. It's like what do we
Yeah.
allow? What do we allow from others, and what do we allow for ourselves to experience? because I do think this is all about increasing our energy load, increasing our consciousness, increasing our awareness. And I feel the people who specialize in being healers, because we can be energy sensitive, but the people who specialize in being healers for people and helping them transmute the energy, not just talking about the energy, and not just describing the energy, are ones, excuse me, that have allowed enough energy capacity to hold heavy energy, difficult energy, um, pain, grief, all these agony, all these different emotions that most people would be like, and I'm tired, and wow, this is enough. Let's pause. Let's take a break. Let's come back to it next
Mhm.
week, next month. No, but the people who are holding space for others to go, okay, all right, well, within reason, we will have to take a break. But if you want to really talk about some stuff, some really hard issues for an hour, and we got time for it, okay, this is the space because no one else is talking about it. Why
Mhm.
not? Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. And, we've, you, me and Debbie have had these conversations together because we're very open channels and we can feel everything. We know what's going on in the collective. And it compounds like what we feel in our own internal, story that we're going on in our journeys too. And it's a lot to hold. But that's what we sign up for, right? And so that's why we keep working. We keep doing the work to get us to. I think maybe Courtney was saying when we allow it, I was wondering if she might also be saying sometimes when we're playing our part in interaction, if we haven't, if we feel like somebody's hurt our feelings, then I think she might also be saying our part in it is that we were there too, like, so taking our responsibility for the role that kind of we played without actually blaming ourselves, because if someone's done something hurtful to us, it's not our fault. But where were we in that dynamic, right, of taking that personal responsibility? And then what can we learn? How can we increase more self-love for ourselves, to feel that wholeness of being? And that will change, the interaction. So people may start, to change in your life too. So maybe, new people come into your lives that are going to be more reflective of who you are, which is that beautiful wholeness of being too. So, and that takes guts to be able to say, okay, I was there too. I played my part too in there too. That I, allowed this to go on for X amount of time, and didn't make a change. But sometimes, again, like you were saying too, we have to give ourselves grace through all this too, because if you're in like going under a lot of stress, it's like sometimes you can't get out of it until you can. So we do our best. And I think what's also helpful is that we all support each other, because we're also lucky that, so many of us know each other here that are on the show, and we're in the supportive community. And by having a tribe of people who have your back and are willing to be there for you and listen to you makes all the difference. So developing that too, having a support system. So we just need each other, everybody.
You know,
We
I
can buy with a little help from our friends.
it's very much researched, and it's very much felt within people that community is so important, and having friends and somebody to talk to is so important. We need to bounce our energy off of others and go, oh, I'm growing, I understand through you. We have to be mirrors unto each other of stuff we admire in people. Wow, I want to be more like that. That's a great way to use energy. Or, oh God, I love that person, but I don't want to be like that. That's a great reminder of, let's not do that with the energy, because it doesn't help me, it doesn't help them. We need to be
Yeah.
around that, and we can't just be ruminating in our own space, because then it becomes, okay, the universe, my fixation is what I'm not doing right and what I am doing right, and I want more of this. And really, it's not wrong or right. We're just learning how to exchange energy, and you need to have examples and encouragement of that outside of yourself to really have the most exponential growth. To really understand that it's not all on you if you get it wrong. or if it's difficult. You have to be around other people to help open you up. And it's not a vulnerability thing, it's an experience thing. And the more you want to connect, the more you will be vulnerable. But it's just simply being around others and going, okay, all right. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out for me. Okay, there's much more going on. How am I going to assert myself? As we're all just figuring out together, because no one really, I mean, none of us know completely what's going on. We just have understandings in certain areas and we share that. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all given our little piece of the puzzle and we're all putting our puzzles together. Yeah, it's very, very true. I love that. I love that. And I love how you talked about being vulnerable, because that is one of the most courageous acts of authenticity that you can find, because that means you really have got in touch with, your inner child underneath all of the beautiful layers and facets of self that we have as well. Gwendolyn says my dad recently has spoken about change, and that change changes. Yeah, that is the one thing we can count on, is constant transformation too. And very, very true. It's one of the few things that doesn't change itself. It's the constant infinite loop. And it seems like as we get more into this, oh, thank you, Shannon Love. It seems when we get more into the spiritual journey, the changes start to come faster and faster and faster. And that's why we're like, why are the curveballs coming left and right? When do we get a break? When's it going to stop? And it seems like it just starts to rev itself up instead of slowing down. And it's like, boy, aren't we on a fascinating adventure, everybody? This is like beyond the Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland.
It's cool though, because it can be like, wow, so much is changing. And just when you feel like you get it, the game changes and you're like,
Yeah.
and the changes can feel really, really uncomfortable. It's just like everything, the energy intensifies, right? But the cool thing is that people that are around you and that you can help, you help change them faster. Right? Because your vibration goes faster and they're around you, and then all of a sudden they're like, and I'm changing. And and there's people that do that to us too. And so we all are sharing like, hey, it's gonna be different, but here you go. And you're like, oh, this is better. But it's not, but it's mostly better.
Yeah, we're all like amplifying each other, and we're like triggering healing in each other too. And and that's an interesting thing. If we could just segue into that, is sometimes we're triggering healing in each other by nature of where we are in our frequency and where we are in our journey too. And that could feel uncomfortable to the other person, and then they may feel uncomfortable with us, and all we've done was exist, and emanate. All we've done is exist and be in this energy, and we're in our heart energy, but we're also maybe in a frequency of great healing in that moment, especially. Welcome to the crew. Yeah, I know, right? And then we trigger healing in somebody else. Perhaps there's some kind of reflection, and some people don't know how to receive love. They don't know how to receive, positivity. When I'm doing my work, especially as a medium, like spirit's giving them all of this kudos of all the good they're doing and showing them the beauty of their spiritual nature. And sometimes people, they don't know what to do with that too, right? So as us, we're triggering that, and spirit's triggering that too, because they're hearing things that don't resonate. They don't understand the magnificence of their being too. So they may get actually uncomfortable and mad at us for no reason, because we've just existed by so what do we do?
I mean, like, so when somebody is open to us, when someone's open to our energy, when we are meeting a friend or we're going on a date or a family member, they'll receive our energy at times and they'll be like, what's that? Like, what's going on with you? They'll feel like, they'll feel the contrast and they'll be like, but they might be open to it. But for people who you impress upon, and you might just, again, like you said, you might not say a word, you just walk into the room and they are not in a good place for whatever going through, that's just their current perspective. With how the energy meets them, they go, oh, who is this? Wow, they really a ball of energy, aren't they?
Yeah,
They tone it
and
down
so
a bit.
yeah, do we need to make ourselves smaller or diminish ourselves? Most people like it. Most people like the presence of somebody who comes in with a loving, warm, open energy, and I do think that that's, for the most part. But then just some people, just they may not be vibing for it on that day, or because it's caused some kind of trigger, usually by spirit allowing that to happen, because spirit's with us too. We all have a higher self, and they're orchestrating this thing, above the scenes that we're not aware of, right? And so it may have been a meant to be things, and then that's the interaction that was meant to happen, and that's stimulated some kind of response in somebody too. But most people actually do appreciate when a warm, sensitive person comes in, or a person with healing energy comes in too. But it is possible that it could bring out something. And like Courtney was saying earlier to Jessica, we love you even when you're mad. And so that gives us opportunity to how can we hold our space, hold our boundaries, but also keep loving people, even if they're not being their perfect highest selves on that day, because we know that that's not who they truly are. And I think that's where Immaculate comes in, saying that, truly, there's a potential in every human being. In the worst person who's done the worst thing, there is a potential to be an angel. And so if we
Ooh, I
can
love
see
that.
that, yeah, if we
love
can see
comment.
that from Lee.
Can you
Yeah,
click
us
it?
too.
I don't know if you can click it to bring it
Oh,
up.
what I just read, you mean?
Yeah, I like that one.
Oh,
But
it's
I
in
don't.
my notes over here. It's in my
Oh,
notes. I read it earlier in the show too, but I just wanted to bring it full circle loop too, right?
like,
And
ooh.
if she can, after what she experienced, in Rwanda in her earlier days, if she can come into that place of forgiveness and being able to see that pure potential, that angelic potential in everybody, then we can all aspire to do that too. We're not going to get it right every day, but we can try. We can work towards that. Hi, Simon. Thanks for coming in today. Thanks for everybody who's joining us. Thank you, Lee. So it's so nice to have everybody here today. It's like, we never know what we're going to talk about, right? Unless we pre-planned it, but we didn't pre-plan a topic, but we got into things that I think that everybody can relate to. And we all need help with love and relationships. We all need help with understanding energy and our interpersonal communication. And you're really good at what you do, Kelly.
Back at you. I love being on with you. You
So
have so much love and light and passion for this work, and just your heart's so big. So you're great at what you do too. Thank you for saying that for me as well. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to give you a shout out too, Kelly. So we talk about this know thyself process too. And let me segue into Mandy here, and then I'll get back to what I was going to say. For years, Mandy was the odd one, bullied for years, grew older, was a people pleaser because of this. Now you're recognizing that the individuals that called you the odd one mean, and I've never really let people know me. Yeah, that's so hard, Mandy, and I'm so sorry that you were treated that way. And so what we can do today here is just tell you that you matter and that you're beautiful, and we see you, and we hope that you can see that within yourself too. See, just as we are just talking about seeing the angelic loving potential in each other and other people, can you do that for yourself too? Because Kelly and we can feel you, and we can see all of your radiance. So I want you to take that in. And I'm so happy you came today so you could be part of the love. Everybody here who's in the comments too, we're all on different pages, so you might not be able to see everybody, but everybody's here supporting each other. So hopefully you get some healing today, and can leave with a smile on your face as we move in towards the weekend. So thank you, Mandy, for sharing. That was courageous of you to be able to share your vulnerability in this moment of your experience too. So I hope that lets you know what, like, a courageous person that you are. And but what I wanted to say also, and I'm not trying to plug, I'm trying to celebrate, Kelly, that we talk about this know thyself process. Kelly is an excellent numerologist. She does her numerology hour. She does her psychic hour. So she is an excellent psychic medium numerologist and is really good with astrology too. And I've gotten to personally experience your work, and it is so helpful because it makes you understand yourself so much better, and will help with personal empowerment, because you can look at the chart and go, this is why you're this way, because you have this in that house and this is part of you. And it's so like, oh, you're like, you just take such a breath to know, like people didn't understand that part of me, but it's part of who I am. It's right there. It's part of my makeup. It's just like right there. And there is something really, really empowering. And then it's okay if somebody doesn't understand it, because you know that's part of you. That's part of your rainbow, And so I just wanted to, to celebrate you for that too. So if anybody's wanting to like go on that journey, get your numbers done, have Kelly look at your chart, because it's so helpful. And again, I'm not trying to like be a sales pitch. I'm trying to just say like, you're wonderful. And this would be really helpful for everybody, because it was for me.
Whether it's a reading or someone wants an extensive
Yeah.
chart reading, they'll learn about their numbers, and I'm happy to assist with people who are open to that. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, any last minute things that you'd like to share with us? Looks like everybody's had a great time here today.
I guess something that comes to mind is, with everything that we talked about, it's how we're utilizing energy. And when things get really complicated, because emotions can be and feelings can be, definitely, especially if we're all mixed up in our own and other people, then we're like, I can't even feel myself. What's going on? I feel like a mess, right? And thoughts are like that too. I can't even think straight, right? It's important to understand if there's constriction in a situation or there's flow in a situation. And so if people are making you feel uncomfortable and you're tensing, that's your sign of knowing my energy is not in flow. My energy is not healthy right now. Something that's happening is making me go, I'm not okay right now. And if you can return even in those moments to your flow, that will give you the flexibility to handle it from the best place. To either remove yourself from the situation or go, ooh, what's going on here? And the reason people come with such harshness at times is because they entered the equation already being stiff. And then we're reacting to then their energy, and all of a sudden we become stiff. And so we want things flowing, and we want other people to be flowing to have the healthiest vibration. And that there's so many metaphoric ways to put that into understanding and effect. But that's what I want to say. Look at it from that feeling perspective. Feel into that, what's going on with you, and come back into that part of neutrality, and you can actually get a lot done and have compassion for yourself and a lot of people. And just how's it feeling? Ooh, they don't feel like they're in their power. They don't feel like they're in a good place. So I don't want to let that come in my way. I'm going to return back to what I was before they came, or make sure I'm in that place before I walk into a room, because we're all sharing energy.
Yeah. And I think the more we keep, doing that work to stay in that space as best we can, because, as Katik and Eat, Pray, Love always said to Liz Gilbert, sometimes getting out of balance is part of the balance itself too, right? It's all within each other. But the more we can stay in that kind of like that sort of neutral, loving, open flow of energy too, it does set other people at ease, so that they feel safe too. So we're able to help people to feel more safe. We can cultivate that for ourselves, and then hopefully be able to share that with others too. But I know for me, it helps me to keep a higher perspective, because when I'm in a more calm, relaxed state, I see the situation with more clarity. And I notice that a difference if I'm more constricted, how I'm perceiving, versus when I'm relaxed and I go back and I go, oh, I'm not sure why I was looking at it quite that way. Now I'm seeing it this way. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was too, because it's that frame that we're in. So the more we can keep cultivating that open, open, loving energy, but keep the self-love too, is just so important to maintain that wholeness. And then we help to, it's harmony, right? It's harmony and homeostasis. And
it's harmony and homeostasis, and we have
yeah,
to be in charge of that for ourselves,
yeah,
because someone might come up at us with energy, and can we keep our harmony? Can we keep our homeostasis? And if we can, we have a shot of actually bringing that into the actual whole environment.
yeah,
It's one thing to intend something, but if somebody gives us something counter to that and we still remain in homeostasis and harmony, we can actually transmute and lead that and hopefully impress.
yeah.
Hopefully
It's
impress.
the power of love is a very real thing, and we can talk about this power of love, but it's not an airy fairy, sugary concept. It's very deep and profound. And the more we move into all the depths of love itself, we can see the amazing miracles that can happen of how we really can transform within ourselves, um, in our interactions with others and the world itself too. And it is amazing how one act of kindness can have a ripple effect that really could change the whole world. And you think, how could it? Of course it can. It's love. It can do anything.
I agree with that. It's a powerful
Yeah.
statement, Jennifer. I totally agree with that. Everything
Yeah.
that we do can have such a impact, and we can't overlook that. We can't overlook that. So ours saying a couple of things. We're talking R. So please come back for another show if you have any questions. But unless Jennifer, there's anything that wants to be said, but R is asking for a couple things in the
Okay.
comments. We're just kind of highlighting, like,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I'm reading your comment, R, but since we're not going into every single question in depth, that's the reason why
Right.
we're not bouncing to open up that subject right now. But I send you a lot of love.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I know we're not doing readings and we actually are wrapping it up, but I want to send you love as well. And encourage you to perhaps seek a professional that would help you to be able to know how to communicate and interact, being that you're having some with mental health issues. Encouraged to seek out that help from somebody who is counseled and trained in that specific part for you too. And I think that would be very helpful to you. But we certainly can tell you that we give you our love and support. And if you're open to receiving, allowing spirit to come in and give you some healing for that as well. And hopefully the spirit can help, impart some wisdom through your own intuition, because we all have it. Mandy says she saw spirit at a very young age, thought it was normal. That's why that's very common with all of us, that we have a spiritual nature. People don't believe us. They laugh at us. So we kind of close it off and then we try to reconnect to it later in life. That actually is very, very common. So it's very difficult to be sensitive, especially as we go back in the decades. Today now we're better equipped at taking care of sensitive children and understanding children have different learning styles. There's more openness about spirituality and sensitivity. There's a lovely documentary by it's got Alanis Morissette in it. It's called Sensitive. I think it was it Judith? Is it Judith Orloff who wrote about the HSP, highly sensitive people? I believe I have that correct. Right. And there's a document about that. Right. And so learning, I got chills with that too. So that must be important for somebody to hear and look up to, that understand that sensitivity is a superpower. So even if it was, rejected or laughed upon at one time in your life, it is your intuition. Sensitivity is heightened intuition, which means you can use it to make good decisions for your life, in who you interact with, in the spaces that you're in. You can learn to use your energy and get in tune with it, so you do affect the space versus a space affecting you in a negative way too. So it's a learning process, but it is a superpower. It also enables you to intuit what people need, what they're feeling, how you can hold space for them, or how you can make decisions on what the best way is to interact with them. So if you can switch the mindset, the thought that sensitivity is like a curse because you're so overwhelmed by it, switch it into like, this is my superpower. This gives you an extra tool to use in life. Like, it will change everything for you too. It will change everything. So it's all about like changing your mindset and realizing that you've been given a gift and you can use it for good. Yay.
That's right. That's right. And she was talking about, she can mentor people through some of those things that she went through. So there's a reason we are who we are.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
People are just not comfortable with it because they're used to their own reality. And so, they're flowing around, and all of a sudden they go, oh, you're a medium, and then tense. And then we're empathetic, so then we tense. Oh, it's bad to be a medium. I better tense and shut this down. And we gotta, right? Just go, oh, well, that's me, that's me, that's me. So I love it. I love that, man.
And that's a journey too. So many of us come into this and we're scared to tell people. We're scared to like come out of the closet with our mediumship and with our gifts that we have, because we don't know how it's going to be received by family, by friends, by neighbors. And that's where, there can be a little bit of a change in the relationships that you have. And that's why it's so relieving when you like go to a development circle or something and you're around people who are just like you, and you're like, oh my God, I get to be myself for the first time in years, right? And it's like, there's just like so much relief in that too, of like finding your tribe too. But that is part of the journey of stepping into your power. What does that mean when we step into your power? You're stepping out of the box of how you thought you were supposed to be to please everybody else, right? To coming into being yourself in a beautiful and healing, productive way that also allows other people to have permission to do that too. And they may give a little bit of pushback on that too, because they're not used to that. They're not used to you changing, but you're giving people permission to do that for themselves too. And in the end, there will be that happy ending, like you're talking about right now, Mandy. There will be that happy ending. You may not see it in the interim, but it will come. Everything comes full circle. It just takes a little bit of time to get there, because Big G up there likes these long, drawn out middles.
That's funny. I like it. I like it. I think Jennifer's talking about it too, to be with like-minded people. And we talk about that a lot, but it's so true. That's the best thing that I did for myself within my understanding of what it meant to be a psychic and medium. Because even though I was having experiences by myself, I actually didn't believe it, because I was just like, I don't have anybody else to really let me know if this is real, because I'm just experiencing myself, and other people aren't necessarily open to talking about this, or they don't really understand it when I try to talk about it. So, and I encourage other people to put themselves into, so we're talking about tension and flow. Put yourself in an environment where there's flow with what you're working on, because it will unball you up. It will unknot you, because you go, oh, and I can be this way now. And so when I was developing and trying to heal myself and acknowledge this part of myself fully, I started going, because I started feeling it. I didn't understand it, but I started going to conferences and classes, and even books can do that, sure, with your own self, because you're reading from another's perspective. But to actually be physically present with other people, or like on Zoom with a lot of people, you go, okay, and I'm here. What am I going to do with this? But you learn what to do with it. You learn what to do with it. So it's really important, because I've never, it wasn't like I was always this comfortable. I was comfortable in maybe other ways, but I wasn't comfortable with being a medium or psychic for quite a long time. That's for sure.
And I know how you feel. We've got somebody who's messaging people right now who's soliciting. So if you're being solicited, please just ignore them. And we would ask this person to please leave our conversation. Thank you. Because this is Kelly's time, and you're actually messaging people who don't need readings because they are readers. So there we go. With that said, Jessica was having a little chuckle about people think that we can read their minds. They get nervous about that too. They think we can. I have had that happen too. They're like, "Can you tell what I'm thinking?" They get really uncomfortable knowing we do this work, and I'm like, "No, I can't read your mind." You know, it's like
it doesn't.
But I can read the energy really well.
Sometimes.
Yeah, there is a telepathic connection with certain people we can have telepathic connections with people that we're very close to, you know, but for the most part, we can read the energy better than we can read the thoughts. And and thoughts are always, understand too, if you think you're picking up on other people's thoughts, they're going through a filter of perception. And that's why a lot of times you're like, oh, I just thought of my grandma in spirit. And it's like, well, grandma was really knocking on your door, but you thought it was your thought, because it's the thought to thought connection. So that's where we get into a little bit more of a loop there.
Yeah.
So
no, but that's real. So I feel like the more intuitive another person is, whether they realize it or not, it's like your energy just kind of shares, and you can like pick up on each other's thoughts and stuff. And I it's not like we can it's not like we can read people's minds. It's just sometimes we're gonna pick something up. And sometimes it might be really useful in that moment, but it's not because we're like, I can do it. Woo. It's like, I just thought
it's like a little hit just flows into your awareness without you trying to get it. It's just because we're in that open connected mode too. I find that happens when we're in people with other people that are also very connected. So, if you and I were having a private conversation, or we're good friends with Debbie, like we'd all be flowing in each other, and we're like, I got this. And oh, that's me. That's for me. That's for me. And we're having such a blast. It's so much fun. We actually have so much fun doing that, right? Because we're just like sharing.
We go, I just saw this. Who's that? Or
who does that belong to? Oh, that was mine.
So whether it's indirect or direct, we'll get like feelings or visuals, and we're like, oh wow, that story is way more interesting now.
I woke up feeling sad. I think that was me. Because this happened. Oh, I thought it was me. I didn't know why I was sad. And then we realized that we were just feeling each other because we're so connected. But because we've come to understand it and embrace it, we don't fear it. We don't worry about it. We're just like, oh, okay, that was there. So it's part of like accepting the energy. And like you said, being in the flow with it too, and it's like, oh, that's just there. And what a beautiful thing to be so in tune with each other that we have that kind of connection. It's actually so beautiful to have it. And that's where we're kind of getting into another topic, but there's something very, very special about that too. I love being in the company of somebody who's also an open channel like that too, because we just have so much fun, and there's so much beauty and love that's being shared too, right? And Mandy said, I get picking up on your friends. Yeah, sometimes, and then sometimes people make changes too, and then you feel it and you're like, oh, where'd that go? And then you make a connection to try like, oh, where'd that go? What happened just now? Someone made a change, and so it's just we're in tune with the energy. So energy is very fascinating. So I think we've all learned a lot together here today, and I want to thank everybody for sharing here today and for coming and supporting each other and holding space. And we've been in this healing energy the whole time. So if you've been here watching and listening, or you're watching the replay, give spirit a yes, because there's healing that's infused in this talk. It's in our words, but it's also in the energy and in the space. And if you just give permission to spirit, give them a yes that you're open to receive. That's something you can get. It's free. It's just right there for you. It's right there for you to embrace and bring into your heart, because I feel the love of spirit just wanting people to know that they're here. Like I'm feeling an emotion of spirit kind of bringing me to tears, just reminding everybody that you are so loved, so perfect and beautiful, just the way you are, and always unfolding into even more. So just keep embracing your own beautiful hearts and each other, and the world will keep getting better, because that's what we're all wanting, right? So I feel like we should probably kind of like wrap it up. we've been going for a long time, but this was so wonderful and beautiful. Yeah. This was so wonderful and beautiful. I want to thank you for joining me today, and thank you for creating the Sacred Spiral Network and for inviting me to be a part of it. I'm very blessed and honored and grateful. And so thankful to everybody who joined here today. And so much love was shared, and so much wisdom and so much help. And you're right, love and light. So thank you. So big hugs. Thank you, Kelly.
Big hugs back. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jennifer. It's an honor to be on your show. I love the energy that you bring to others and what you're creating on Embracing Infinity. So it's a true pleasure.
Yay, yay. Thank you. So may all this love here today and healing that we've created be infinitely multiplied. Let love be your guide, and it won't lead you astray. So thank you. Have a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening, and a beautiful weekend, everybody. Stay blessed. God bless.
Chef's kiss.